Well, hey guys, welcome back. So the electrician was here yesterday and got my power pole set up. I've got the 30 amp connection here for the RV site, which is going to be right in this vicinity. And then I've got my standard outlet here to run extension cords for the construction projects. So I'm good to go. He said this box is really nicely set up and will be easy to connect ultimately to the house when we do that. I still have to connect to the well house. I'm going to do that myself. So if you may recall, when I was rebuilding the well house, there was 14 gauge wire coming into the well house, and that's sufficient to, run the 1/2 horsepower pump and the jet pump. But we're about 175 feet from this power pole to the well house. I'm going to install 10 gauge wire. I'm going to upgrade that wire from 14 gauge to 10 gauge so that if I want to expand my electric needs from that location, I can do it easily. The box that I put in the well house allows me to expand up to an additional 60 amps. So if I wanted to put a light on the outside of that building, for example, or if I wanted to run, lighting down the driveway or a fountain down there or something, or power up to another building up into that back section that we just cleared, I can do it from that location with this upgraded wire. So today I'm digging the trench between here and the well house, and there's, quite a few mature trees. So I'm hoping I'm not gonna run into major root issues, but we'll see. I don't care what you do, but get off the buffer. All right, guys, so I've got about 100 feet trenched at the moment from the power pole there, right about to where the monkey puzzle tree is. So it gets a little complicated there because we've got a number of different trees, an apple tree, and some other mature trees that we don't want to disturb. So from this point, I'm going to take about probably a 25 to 30 degree angle to the left, and then hopefully cut straight into the well house. I've got to raise the branches, the limbs on this monkey puzzle tree. Really unusual tree, very beautiful. They're pretty cool, but the branches are razor sharp. So I've got to get that above my head in order to get the tractor in there to continue the trenching. Okay, so the trench from the power pole to the well house is dug. And what a piece of cake with that Branson homestead tractor. Very capable for digging this trench. Made the job a lot of fun and really a piece of cake. Got about 155 feet, as I mentioned. Time to go get the 10-3 UF underground feed wire that I talked about that we're going to install for the electric. And I'm going to put that in conduit just for extra protection, so we don't ever have to worry about it because it'll be in conduit. That stuff's pretty pricey. It's approaching $2 a foot for the 10.3. And so we're looking at, you know, more than $300 for this new wiring. But it's going to set us up for the future. As I mentioned, we'll be able to add lights to this well house if we want to, put lights down the driveway, and feed an additional building if we want to build a building up where we cleared that land a couple of weeks ago. So we're in good shape electric-wise. In the same trench, on top of the electric, about 8 inches up, I'll be laying new water pipe from the well house to the junction box that I mentioned earlier. And from that junction box, I'll be able to control a feed to the RV site, the future house, and the garden area. So that's what we're working on. I got to go get those supplies, and I think I'm going to get them from the same place that I got the well pump from. It's a supply house down in the southern part of the county, and he specializes in this kind of equipment, and the prices are pretty good. So that's coming next. All right, guys, so after doing some research and talking with the supplier of this 10.3 UF wire, it's not supposed to go into conduit. It's designed to go directly in the ground. The way it's cased, it gives off some heat, or it can give off heat. So if it's in conduit, that can be problematic. So I'm not sure why the electrician recommended putting this in conduit, but again, I did quite a bit of research and heard from many sources that you do not put this in conduit. So I'm laying it just as it is. It's underground feed wire. It's designed to go in the ground just like it is. Excuse me. I will make sure that it's flat and at least 2 feet down before I bury it up to probably 18 inches, 16 inches, and then I'll lay the plumbing pipe. Okay, so this UF wired is buried from the power pole to this point. Now what I have to do is connect this to the well house, and what I'll do is probably, I've got these concrete blocks and concrete pad, it's all tied together here, so very difficult to get under that. And curiously, I have not been able to find any wire coming out of this area from the existing feed, the 14 gauge. It may be an underground feed wire as well. I don't know if they make that in 14 gauge, but maybe. Anyway, I haven't been able to find it. So what I'll probably do, as you saw, I ran this in conduit up the telephone pole, the electric pole over there. And I'll do the same thing here for the last 3 feet into the well house. My breaker box is right there. So what I'll likely do is bring this up in conduit, from 2 feet down, run it across this concrete, up, and then into the breaker box. And I should be good to go. Tie that together, call the power company to re-energize that pole, and we'll have power. Back to the well house, the pump will work, and we'll be good to go. Next step is to lay the plumbing, new PVC coming out of the well house, back through this trench, and like I said, out to that junction box that I'm going to install that'll feed the garden, the house, and the RV pad. Well, I'm back at it, guys. I've been stripping this 10 gauge UF wire, and man, it is a bear. Yesterday at the power pole end, took me a good half hour to strip about 20 inches of wire. Again, this stuff is designed to be buried direct in the ground as is, so the casing around these wires is really thick and tough to strip. All right, guys, so I just finished installing that 10 gauge wire into the breaker box. I still have to install a coupler over this conduit into the box, but otherwise we're good. I contacted the local power company and have them scheduled to come out early next week to re-energize the power pole. We'll be good to go. Power to the well house so the well system will work, and power to those temporary outlets, the 30 amp outlet for the RV and the 20 amp outlet for power tools and so forth. So excited about that. Let's keep going now with installing the new plumbing from the well house out to the diverter box. Well, it's sort of misty raining right now, real light mist, but regardless, I'm getting wet. So not sure how much longer I'm gonna do the plumbing today, but we'll go a little bit longer till it gets heavier and see about taking a break. So while this misty rain is going on, I thought I'd take this galvanized planter box, and it's about 10 foot long. So go ahead and cut this thing in half, put some cedar ends on each end, and hang these under the 4-foot windows at this gable end of the shop. Maybe plant some flowers in there or some herbs. I think it'll be high enough off the ground to where the deer won't get in there, but I will look for varieties that the deer don't like regardless. So take this to the shop, cut it up, and make some flower boxes. Yeah, so these will hang. I'll put a mounting board across that this lip will screw down onto, but they'll generally hang just about like that. I think that's going to look cool, and I love the look of the galvanized metal against this mahogany. Cool. I'll install these on a different day. The rain has actually stopped, so I'm going to grab some lunch and then get back to that plumbing work. Okay, so now that we're in the control box here, what I'll do is I'll cut this pipe coming out of the well house, install this four-way piece, and then what'll happen is I'll have a pipe going off this direction, which will feed the garden, and I'll have a ball valve inside the box for that direction. I'll have this piece continuing toward the, this piece will come out and I'll cap it, but there'll be a ball valve in here for that line, which will ultimately feed the house. And then off of this side, I'm gonna make a quick 90-degree and go out the same end of this box here with, again, another ball valve that will feed the RV site. All right, so the junction box is complete. This line with the ball valve goes off to the raised bed gardens. This line goes off to the future house, and this line goes to the RV pad. Good to go in the junction box. This is level with the grass, and I'll go to work on burying this area. Okay guys, so I've finished laying the PVC pipe, the run, all of it that I had. There were 20-foot runs. This is the end of the last run. So from here, what'll happen is I will connect this ribbed piece to the 1-inch PVC, and then to that rib, I will connect the poly line. And so the poly, if you recall, is what I dropped down the well, and I will use this to run to the ultimate spigot for the RV, which is about where that stake is there. In that vicinity, that's also where the sewer hookup will be. So I'll also be running this poly from the junction box up to the garden area. I've got probably another, I don't know, maybe 200 feet of this in the shop. Okay, so that's going to do it for this week's video, guys. We got a lot accomplished. I appreciate you guys coming along with me for the journey. Next week, I'll go ahead and finish that poly run to the spigot, build that spigot for the RV site. Also got to connect the sewer, so we'll do that hookup to the septic tank. I'll go ahead and fill in this trench that I've dug, and go ahead and begin to grade the RV pad, as well as tell you guys about a design feature that Lisa wants to incorporate at the RV site for the Airstream. So all that coming up. Again, I appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.